Perfect. Perfect.
All right, everybody, what's going on? And welcome to today's edition of SWAC Talk, the show we cover the SWAC inside and out. I'm your tour guide around the SWAC SeaWorld coming at you today. And man, let me tell y'all, before we even get started, man, it took me like 4 times to even start this thing off. StreamYard was acting so stupid. So man, hopefully we can go ahead and make this thing happen for y'all. But thank y'all for tuning in, man. And as y'all could tell, this is our FAMU season preview. And we're going to talk about the Rattlers and what to expect from them, and you know what my thoughts are about the upcoming season. As usual, you can check out the socials. Facebook is SWAC Talk, Twitter SWAC Talk 76, and Instagram SWAC Talk to get the list of the dates for the upcoming previews. You can find your favorite team or whoever. Maybe it's a team you're hating on. You wanna see about them, but you can check all of that out on the socials. Also, you can subscribe to the channel. We are rapidly approaching 1K, man. We are almost there, getting very close to that personal goal that I set, and I will be very happy when we reach it. So if you already subscribed, thank you. If you haven't, won't you please hit that button. Also, won't you consider becoming a member of the channel so you can hit that join button? Do that. They got a lot of good perks that are on the channel page that you can check out. And don't forget to like the video. Feel free to share and comment. So let's go ahead and jump into the Florida A&M Rattlers. This team, if it wasn't for Jackson State, this team would be the best team in the league at this point. Back-to-back 9-2 seasons, back-to-back 7-1 seasons. Basically 14-0 against everybody else in the SWAC. 0-2 against Jackson State. So if it wasn't for Jackson State, this team would be the best team in the league. But, you know, that's how it happens. They ultimately would come up short in the first, in the Orange Blossom Classic 2 times and then run the table the rest of the way. This team was, last season, the offense, was started to come around, about mid-season. The passing game was really solid. Led by Jeremy Musa. He had a really good season last season, was 226 of 394 with 21 touchdowns and 10 interceptions, completing 2,732 yards. He returns. He started all 11 games. He loses his biggest target, which was Xavier Smith, who caught 87 passes for 1,021 yards and 11 touchdowns. That number is almost double the second place guy, Jamari Shareed, in reception with 45, almost double the yardage, and almost almost quadruple the touchdowns. So Xavier Smith was the guy that he really leaned on a lot. And we'll talk about what to expect in the upcoming season on that note. If there was any portion of this offense that didn't really do well, it was the run game. This team didn't really run the ball very well. Only averaged 94 yards per game on the ground, 3 yards per carry. Had the second fewest touchdowns in the league with 10. The running game just was not, it wasn't really a priority, honestly. They didn't run the ball that much. They had the fewest attempts of any team. So that really was a area where, they didn't really excel at. Third down conversions, they were second at 41%. Really good on offense on third down. And they led the league in fourth down conversion rate at 62%. When you look on the other side of the ball with that defense was nasty. Fourth in the league in scoring defense, third in total defense. third in rushing defense, fourth in passing defense. They finished fourth in sacks. The offensive line allowed the second fewest sacks on the year. Defensive third down conversion rate, they were sixth at 36%. Fourth down conversion rate, they were sixth at 40%. This defense did not really allow a lot after like the midseason portion of the schedule. They started to really come into form. This defense is led and was led last season by Isaiah Major, who finished with 83 tackles, 13.5 tackles for loss. Both numbers led the team, as well as 4 sacks. This was a very good defense. You had Isaiah Land out there, Kamari Stevens. That's the guy we'll talk about in a second. But they lost a few guys off of this team. But I like the direction that they went. They went heavy. They went heavy in the portal. But this was an experienced team. By my calculations on my unofficial SWAC Talk starter number, returning starter numbers, this offense returns 10 starters. Defense about 6. So that's quite an experienced group. The majority of the offensive line returns. Your quarterback returns. Most of your receivers, return as well. Other than Xavier Smith, really, the majority of your guys who caught passes last season, they come back. So this, on top of adding guys to position groups, you returned a lot of guys. So that's why I think a lot of people feel like this season is do or die for FAMU, because it shapes up great for them. You have a really experienced team coming back. Offensive line is probably the most experienced O-line in the conference. You got a lot of talent at receiver. Tight ends, you're solid at tight ends as well. You have talent in the backfield. It's just, are they going to commit to running the ball? You have guys like Terrell Jennings, who returns. You have Jaquez Yant, Kelvin Dean, Levante Somerset, Will Holt, Cameron Segura, Darius Walker. All these guys are now. Vershawn Quinn, Kevin Sawyer, Dalen Hall. There's a lot of guys in that backfield that can run that ball. So are they going to commit to the run game? That is the key. You return, like I said, a lot of really solid tight ends led by Kamari Young. And you got size at receiver. David Manigault, 6'3". You getting Marcus Riley, transfer from Bethune-Cookman, who was one of their top receivers. He's a guy who can make some things happen. Jamari Shareed is your second leading receiver. Who is your leading returning receiver. Boy, that's a mouthful. On top of all the other guys that you got, so you're bringing in a lot of guys on both sides of the ball to help out with an experienced team. And like I said, that makes me feel like this is, win or go home this season. You lose 2 really, really good specialists in Fadul and Romo Martinez. You bring in Logan Fuller, who's a kicker for New Mexico State. That's an area that you really want to try to fill that spot and get your special teams back on point. Shareed's a great punt return guy. Can you get that explosiveness in the kickoff return game? That'll be a great thing. Like I said, you have a lot of guys coming in on both sides of the ball as new guys. Now, one guy who you don't have, at least as far as of this recording, or maybe you do, and we don't know, but that's Kamari Stevens. He went in the portal, came out of the portal, and now he's gone back in the portal. So I'm basically looking at it as him being a guy who is not there. A guy I like is Dakar Edwards from Stony Brook. I think he'll be a guy who can really fill in and help out with that D-line. I really just, like I said, I don't see a lot of things that are a problem with this team. They're, like I said, they're a very experienced team, probably the most experienced team in the league. They have proven that they can win in the SWAC. They have to prove that they can beat Jackson State, but they've proven that they can win in the SWAC. They seem to have found guys to come in to, take over the reins and kickers. Cameron Gillis is also a guy from Stetson who is a kicker that's coming in to help out. Trey Wilholt is a punter from Eastern Illinois. So that's another guy to help out with the special teams unit. To me, if there's any question, is that side of the ball. Another key is, can Musa develop? He obviously was able to get other guys involved last season, but you didn't really have a lot of guys catch passes. After Smith with 87, you had Sharif with 45, Manigo with 23, Oxendine with 18, Young with 14, and then Pruitt with 12. So can he get more production from other receivers? Which means he has to really look other ways, and not have that one security blanket guy that you just totally lean on. So if he can do that and spread the ball around more to other guys, that's only going to make the passing attack more deadly. Obviously, the run game has to pick up. I don't think this team needs to run for 150, 160 yards. I honestly think like 125 is a decent enough number. That's about that's like 30 yards more a game. That's only a few more carries a game. And it really will help you in the fourth quarter in putting away some of these games where teams have been able to come back in games. I don't think they were able to really just close the door on those teams. I think being able to run the ball, even if it's just late in the game, that can help you. That can help you, avoid an Alabama State game where you had to block a field goal to win. Avoid a Grambling game where you had a controversial call at the end of the game to pull that out. Those kind of games can be won more easily if you're able to, consistently run the football and find a way to get your offense even more explosive. Like I said, there's not a lot of weaknesses on this team, so you almost have to pick nits to get to a problem. Like O-line, I love it. The O-line returns pretty much everybody. They're very experienced. They're going to continue to do a great job with that. If there was one area on the defense, I would say I would like to see more is force a few more turnovers. It's kind of the same thing I said in my Alcorn preview. It's not that they don't force turnovers. I think if you can turn teams over a little bit more, you will shut the door on some of those games against teams that you are honestly better than. And that leads, before we get into the schedule and everything, obviously the elephant in the room is the Orange Blossom Classic. Everybody knows that FAMU must win that game. There's really no other way to put it. So you kind of have to approach this season in two different ways. You got to kind of look at it as the mentality of the team if they win that game, and the mentality of the team if they lose that game. If they win it, can they stay the course? Can they still keep working and keep grinding, knowing that the job is not done, just, getting that monkey off your back, but still have a lot ahead of you? Can they continue to run the table, which is something that they have done twice? They've run the table against everybody else twice. Can they do that again if they falter against Jackson State? Can they do it if they beat Jackson State? Can they continue to navigate the conference in a manner that gets them wins? That's going to be tough to do year in and year out. But that's my biggest key for this team, probably the mentality after the Jackson State game. If they lose that game, are they going to be able to stay mentally sharp and moving ahead with the rest of the schedule? And that leads to my really final thought before we get into the schedule, and that's, to use a Nick Saban term, avoiding rat poison. And I feel like this team, this coaching staff has already partaken in a little bit of rat poison. The whole Twitter thing and I don't have a problem with Coach Simmons being active on social media. I always say coaches need to be involved, but I don't think, as a coach, whether you intended to or not, I don't think you really need to get too involved with fans. Yes, you can make any kind of statement you want, but you got to understand that a lot of people are looking for that kind of stuff, and they're gonna troll, and you don't need to have that get caught up in that mix, because that can really, really hamper your team. That can really hamper the perception of your team. And now it's not as bad as I thought it would be, but you got a little friendly backlash from people about Stevens going back into the portal after the whole Twitter statements and everything. So I think you really need to avoid getting caught up in the off the field JSU FAMU stuff, and just keep it focused on the game, because if you don't win the game, then none of that even matters. And Jackson State is going to be waiting for you in Miami. So I don't want to call it a one-game season, because it's still 11 games on your schedule, and you have to win these games to get to the championship. But if you don't make the championship, then you're going to be sitting at home, because your non-conference schedule is not good. So let's look at the schedule right now. The big game, Miami, September 3rd. This game is for me right now, it's so tough to pick a team to win, because Jackson State is a pretty new team. We don't really know for sure about them. We know they got talent. We know they got guys coming back that played. They brought in a lot of guys with talent. They get to play a game before this game, so that's probably going to help them a lot. Answer some of those questions that they probably would have had to answer in this game. So maybe being sharper after 1 week, because the cliche is teams improve more after between their first and second game than any time of the season. That's not always true, but that's the cliche. So you're facing a Jackson State team who will have the opportunity to play a game, and see where they're at. That can work twofold. It doesn't always necessarily mean that you're gonna win that next game, but right now, man, it's tough for me to pick. I really don't know about if FAMU can win this game, because I feel like it's mental. I don't think it's a physical thing. I think talent for talent. I think these two teams are close, but I think it's mental. And when you got a mental situation like that, it's tough to go against the team with the edge. So just because I don't know if FAMU is able to get over that mental hurdle, I'm going with Jackson State in this game. But this is a real toss-up game. I really consider flipping a coin during the show, because this is a true toss-up game. FAMU can win this game as well. It's not out of the realm. I think this game is going to be closer than most people think, because I think FAMU team is experienced enough, and they've been through two different losses in this game. So they know what to expect, and they know what needs to be done. I just don't know if the pressure is going to be felt by the team that a lot of outside people are putting on this game. I don't know if the team is feeling that, or if they will feel that. But this game could be a dub for FAMU, but right now I'm going with Jackson State. Next week, September 9th, they take on USF. Last time these two teams played, FAMU gave them a good go at it, and I think they'll do it again. USF, new coach, new staff, new guys. It's gonna be, this team hasn't really been that good in recent years. I think FAMU's gonna, if they can be sharp coming off of the Jackson State game mentally, I think they can give them a go again in this game. I don't know if they'll be able to get over the hump in this game, but I think if they're sharp, they can give them a good go. If they don't come out sharp, then I don't like the outlooks for a lot of the season. They open up their home slate on September 16th against West Florida. Traditionally, West Florida has been a strong team the last few years, but they lost their coach and quite a few other guys off the team. But they bring in some recruits. They bring in a former 4-star quarterback who was supposed to go to Florida, but ultimately ended up at West Florida. What kind of weapons he got around him and what the new coaching staff is going to do, that's up in the air. But I think FAMU will win this game. They pretty much have to. I think they'll win this game. And that takes them into the bulk of SWAC play. You can open up your home SWAC slate against Alabama State. I think this game it'll be tight for a while, but I think FAMU will win this game. That leads you to Valley and Itta Bena. Valley is tough at home, and I think the last time these two teams played in Itta Bena, I think Valley kind of hung around in that game. And Valley is stacking up talent. Don't really know, where they are as a team. We don't really know we don't know where they are as a team, but we do know where FAMU is, and FAMU I think is in a better position to win this game than Valley did. Last time the two teams played at Itta Bena, Valley lost by 3. So don't underestimate Valley playing at home, but I think FAMU will have enough to win this game on the road in Itta Bena. And that takes us to October 7th at Southern. The Southern FAMU game to me is like the Jackson State FAMU game reversed. Southern just cannot get past FAMU. It's just been a thorn in their side for years. And I don't really think that last season the game was fairly close to the third quarter. I think it was like a 4-point game to the midpoint of the third quarter before Southern offense just could put it out. Where Southern's team is at this portion of the season, that remains to be seen. They do have some questions at quarterback. They offensive line replacing a couple guys, D-line replacing some guys. The talent is there, but I feel like I did about the Jackson State game. I think FAMU will win this game primarily because I think it's a mental thing for Southern as a whole. Even with different personnel, it's the same. That takes us to an off week on October 14th. October 21st, they go to Houston to take on Texas Southern. First trip to Houston since I think like the 50s for FAMU. This will be a great game. I think this is going to be a tough game. Texas Southern is anticipated to be a contender for the West Championship. Can they get over the hump, and win those key games that they didn't win last season? And this is one of those games. But I think FAMU is going to be playing pretty good football. I think they'll win this game in a tight one on the road. And that brings them to homecoming against Prairie View on the 28th of October. Prairie View is another team that's going to be tough. They're bringing in some guys. The offense is going to be, continue to run the ball. You get Caleb Johnson added to that mix of a running game. Passing game should be better. This should be a really another entertaining game, probably another tight game. But I think the Rattlers find a way to win this one at home on homecoming. That leads them to November 4th at Alabama A&M in Huntsville. The two times that these two teams have faced off in the last 2 years, FAMU has had to come back and win. A&M should be better. They could be positioning themselves for a third place finish or even second, depending on how this team is doing. So this is a very crucial game. FAMU has to avoid hurdles. You got a game coming up the next week that's essentially that's a non-conference game that doesn't a team that nobody really knows. You don't want to you don't want to kind of go through the motions against A&M to get to that blowout game so you can get to the classic. You want to kind of take these week by week. And A&M is going to be a tough task. Like I said, on the road, it's going to be tough. But I think the Rattlers will win that game as well. And Lincoln, they should win. Well, they better win that game, just like Texas Southern. That Southern better win that game against Lincoln. That's all that needs to be said about that one. And then that takes us to the Florida Classic against Bethune-Cookman. For whatever reason, like I said, if you watch my Bethune-Cookman preview, I didn't give the most glowing review of the team, but a game like this, you never know. You know what I mean? This team could be they can be anywhere in the standings by the time they get to the Florida Classic against FAMU. So you really want to look out for those kind of teams in rivalry games. Um, they're gonna come out, with their head on fire and give it their all. Can that be enough to get past FAMU right now? I don't think so. But as the season goes on, we'll get a better idea of what Bethune-Cookman is like. Um, but I think the Rattlers will win that, and that gives them another 9-2 record, 7-1. The ceiling is 10-1. If they beat Jackson State and they don't falter against anybody else, then they can go undefeated in conference play. It's possible. My floor is 8-3. I don't think they lose more than 3 games because number one, it's hard to find any other game that I feel like they won't be favored in going into that game. So 8-3 is an upset loss, a loss to somebody in one of those games that could be a toss-up. I don't really see them losing more than 3 games. I mean, again, maybe they drop a couple games and finish 7-4, but right now I think 8-3 is pretty much the limit for them as far as the floor goes. This is a 1-game season. I mean, I don't know how much better to say that. It's Celebration Bowl, a bust, SWAC Championship, a bust. And to get there, you had to go through Jackson State. So, I don't like really putting that much pressure on the first game of the season. That just doesn't really weigh well with me, but that's what it is. So September 3rd would dictate the rest of the season. After what 7-8 o'clock on Sunday, September 3rd, we'll know what direction the Rattler season goes in. So pretty simple, man. This preview was a lot simpler than my Bethune-Cookman preview. This is going to be a really good team. This can be a SWAC championship team. They're definitely going to be in the hunt for everything. And this is honestly do or die this season. So we'll see how the Rattlers do, man. I thank y'all for tuning in. We got our Grambling preview coming up after this. And y'all keep rocking with us on SWAC Talk. Make sure y'all subscribe. Make sure you join the channel. And we'll catch y'all on the rebound. Peace.